Hello there, and welcome to Play the Game with Steve. In today's episode of Beyond the PreCon, we're going to look at Riri Williams, the Ironheart. We're going to take a look at her signature mechanics, which is pretty darn cool. We're going to take a look at her hero kit and how it synergizes with that mechanic. We're also going to take a look at the pre-constructed deck and how we can use what's available in her core pack and the core set to upgrade and make it more efficient. And then finally, we're going to take a look at some of the hero packs that you could purchase to really take her to the next level. All this and more on this episode of Beyond the PreCon, Ironheart. Alright, so Riri Williams is a genius with a hand size of 6, 10 hit points, and a recovery of 3. She has a begin the game with this card, set your other identities aside. So what is that? So yes, Riri Williams has 3 identity cards, and we'll see how we get to see the other ones in a second. So Child Prodigy is an action that you can spend a mental resource to place 1 progress counter on Riri Williams, limit once per round. And that's her mechanics. She gets progress. So basically she's getting smarter. And as you can see on her card, she's trying to make her suit. In a hero form, Ironheart version 1 is a champion with a hand size of 4 and a thwart of 1, an attack of 2, and a defense of 3. And has an action that says level up, remove 6 progress counters from Ironheart, ready her, and swap it with her version 2 Ironheart. So this is going to be cool. So let's go see what happens when you get to version 2. So she becomes, whoops, that's version 3. Okay, so version 2 Ironheart is now an aerial champion with 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense, and a hand size of 5. And also, she also has the level up action, remove 6 progress counters from Ironheart. You get to ready her and give her a tough status card and swap her with version 3. But let's go check out her alter ego first, which is Child Prodigy, still with a recovery of 3, hand size of 6, but says action, spend a mental or 2 resources of any type to place 1 progress counter on Riri. So as you can see, before it was only the mental, now it's mental or 2 of any type. Okay, so she's getting smarter. And then in version 3 Riri, we have Child Prodigy again, where she is a genius with a recovery of 3. And her action now is spend 1 resource of any type because she's super smart. And I don't know if you noticed, but the helmet also changes every time she goes from one to the next, which is pretty cool. So she's like, you can see the evolution of the helmet as it goes. So pretty cool. And then again, that's 1 per phase. And on stage version 3, she's still an aerial champion with a thwart of 3, attack of 2, defense of 3, but now has a hand size of 6 and maximum efficiency hero action, remove 1 progress counter from Ironheart, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So this is incredible. So at first you level up, but once you're at max, those progress counters are used for damage, and that has no limit, and the potential for this is just off the chains. All right, so now let's take a look at her and what she can do with her hero-specific cards. All right, so the first card is a resource card called Stroke of Genius. There's 2 copies of that, and this is obviously a mental resource. And it says, resource, after you spend this card, place 1 progress counter on your identity and draw a card. So not only does it generate a resource, it replaces itself and gives you a progress counter. So this is a triple whammy for Ironheart. Amazing card, amazing card. And she's got 2 in her kit. She also has a couple of support cards. One is Ronnie Williams, which is a persona that says you can exhaust her and choose either you heal 2 damage from Riri or you place a progress counter on Riri. So again, very versatile. I really like this. And I think that's her mom in the comics. And then the other support is Tony Stark's AI, which is an action. You can exhaust Tony Stark's AI to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and add 1 to your hand and the other, discard the other. So this allows you to filter through your deck to find the cards that you need. So very, very efficient, Mr. Stark. So again, and it's a support that you can use in hero form and in alter ego. It's amazing. Then she only has 2 upgrades, so kind of different from Iron Man and War Machine. So she has the photon blasters, which is her, you think it's the helmet, but it's actually the gloves. And that gives you 2 extra hit points. And you can exhaust it, the blaster, to deal damage to an enemy equal to Ironheart's version. So if you're on version 1, it's 1, version 2, 2, and then version 3, it's 3 damage for free. And that's every turn. So that's crazy good. So very, very amazing card here. And then the other one is Propulsion Jets. And that's another +2 hit points. So she can get up to 14 health. And then her hero action, exhaust the Propulsion Jets to remove a threat from a scheme equal to her version number. So again, 1, 2, or 3 threat can be removed with this card. So again, everything is really, really synergistic. Her kit really reflects what she can do, and then how quickly you get up those level up counters is going to matter. So now let's go see how we can get those level up counters. All right, so the first way she can get them is with these photon beams, which is an attack event that says you can deal 4 damage to an enemy and you place 1 progress counter on Ironheart. So that's not bad. 2, and then you do 4 damage, get a progress. But if you defeat that enemy, you put 2 progress counters. So that is legit. So that can double in efficiency very, very fast. So very powerful. So try to make sure that, if there's an enemy with 5 health, punch him first, and then do that photon beam. So that's really good. Then we got the flyovers, which is our thwart event, which says remove 3 threat from a scheme and place 1 progress counter. And if you remove the last threat from a scheme, it's place 2 progress counters instead. So again, same mechanics. If you can get rid of the last one, you want to save those cards for when you can actually remove the last threat from a scheme. So that is very good. So even if this also works on the main scheme. So if you remove 1 threat from the main scheme, you're still removing the last threat. So that works really well. And then finally, she has finally, not really finally, but new and improve. And this card is just amazing, especially once you're on level 3. It says hero action, choose X different option where X is equal to Ironheart's version number. Again, the synergy is beautiful. So you get to either search your deck for an Ironheart card and add it to your hand. So it's just your deck. But if you haven't seen those strokes of genius, you can go get a stroke of genius and get more progress counters. 2, you give Ironheart a tough status card, or you ready Ironheart. So once you're on version 3, for 3, you're doing all 3 of those things. So you can go get your best cards, and it's just so good. And then finally, again, super thematic, we have Sector Scan. And it's reduce the cost to play Sector Scan by X, where X is equal to Ironheart's version number. And the hero action is until the end of the round, you may look at the top card of the encounter deck at any time. So this is basically information. So before the villain attacks, let's see what the boost is going to be. And so is it worth defending? So again, against a villain like Claw, it's okay. You're going to see what you're going to get, but you're only going to see the top card. So you'll be able to know like the first boost, but you won't be able to see the first boost, the second boost until he's attacked. So it's still interesting to know. And then you also get to know what every encounter card is going to be. So there's no real surprises. So I really like this card, especially that the cost gets reduced by the version number. So very, very thematic. And then finally, she has her signature ally, which is Brawn. And he's a 4 cost for a 2 thwart 3 attack with 3 health. But while Brawn is exhausted, he gains the resource, generate a mental resource. Amazing. So not only does he punch hard, you can also use him as a resource after he's done his thing. So good. All right, so that is for her hero-specific kit. As you can see, the synergies, they really want you to get those progress counters, and they really want the progress counters to be very accessible and not be too hard to obtain, so you can really get to that final version as quickly as possible. Now let's go take a look at her pre-constructed deck, all the new cards, how they work, and let's go check that out, how we can improve that. All right, her here pre-constructed deck comes with only two cards that we've seen before: the Powers of Leadership and the Helicarrier, which is very, very good, and one card that we saw in the Ms. Marvel bonus card. So that's actually an Agent 13 that we just saw with Miles Morales Spider-Man. But aside from that, every other card is new, and you know we love new cards. All right, so let's look at some of the events that we got. We got Go All Out, which allows you to exhaust your character and sum up the totals of your attack, defense, and thwart, and then deal damage to an enemy equal to the total of that. So that is super good, especially with stats left 3-2-3. That's a minimum of 8. That's pretty solid. And then we have Push Ahead, which does the same thing, but with a mental requirement. And again, calculate your stats and then add them all up and then remove threat from a scheme equal to that total. So, and then Morale Boost, obviously boost those stats. And R&D Facility does the same thing, but it's a permanent card with the shield trait, which is interesting. And then, yeah, so it can also increase your attack and thwart. And then we have a slew of new allies. Falcon, which can, if you spend a lightning resource, you can ready another champion character, so you can ready your hero. Cloud9, that says all of the aerial characters that player controls get +1 thwart, so that can bring you up to a 4 thwart. And then Patriot, it says after he enters play, choose a champion, and he gets +1 of each of its powers until the end of the round. So that's really cool, because then that's 4-3-4 until the end of the round. So Patriot, very, very thematic with exactly what they're trying to build here, which is the buffed up hero strategy. Then we have a crazy card like Go for Champions in Basics, which just says you win. It's basically what it's printed. It says, oh, hello, champions win the game. So play only if your identity has the champion trait. Hero action. Each champion character in play cannot take damage until the end of the round. That means they can't take consequence damage. They don't take retaliate damage. They don't take damage from being defeated. Like they can block a villain. You're just like, yeah, come at me, bro. Nothing. This is probably the most broken card in all of Marvel Champions, is this card right here. It's just crazy. But it's only limited to champions, so that's a good thing. Then we have some more champions, allies. We got Snowguard and Vivian. We got Agent 13 that kind of just synergizes with the R&D and the Helicarrier, because there's no other cards like there's no other shield support cards in this deck. And then finally we got Ingenuity, which is a great card for any genius character with the genius trait. So hello, Spider-Man, Bruce Banner, Iron Man. There's a few, Wasp, just to name a few right there. And then gives you a mental resource. So you have to be a genius to play it. But after that, you can use it whenever, and it's just a resource for being smart. So very, very thematic. All right, so I love how the deck works. It's all, again, like I said, it's all about pumping up your hero and using that and your stats as basically a resource for extra damage and extra thwart depending on what you need. All right, so there we go. So now what would I do, or what would I change to make this deck just a little bit more efficient all around? All right, in order to make this deck more efficient, I would probably get rid of 7 cards total. So the first things I would get rid of is the Helicarrier and Agent 13. Like I do like the shield thing, but I've seen it right now with Miles Morales, and I think obviously it's not where I want to go. I also get rid of a couple of Ingenuities, because again, it's a maximum of 1, so you don't really want to have 3 in your deck. Then I would get rid of 1 Go All Out, because that card is mostly for endgame once your stats are all maxed out. So until she's at level 3, I feel it's not as good. And then I would get rid of 2 Push Aheads. And that basically is just 2, 4, 6, 7. The reason why, again, the Push Aheads are great for multiplayer, but if you're playing in solo, I doubt you'll need to remove like 9 threat off of something, or very rarely. So that's why you just keep 1 in the deck. There's one more card that I forgot to mention that I would remove. I would remove 1 R&D facility just to make it 8 cards, because I will be adding 8 cards to the deck. What would I replace this with? Well, pretty simple. I would add the 3 double resources. because she does have a few expensive cards in her deck. So I think with the Ingenuity and the Vivian and the Snow Guards and Go for Champions, there's a lot of 3 cost cards in her deck, but she only has the 2 doubles and the Ingenuity, so you kind of need a couple of extra resource cards. Then I would add 2 Make the Calls. The Make the Calls are there just to go get your Patriots and Cloud9s and Falcons that kind of trigger off of all your stuff, and Snow Guard too, which is pretty awesome. I would also add the Triskelion to this deck. The reason why? Well, why not? that's the reason. Why not? Why not have 4 allies that can go for champions and just go crazy? And then just for Flavor Flav, I would add a couple of our old friends that have the mental resources and are super legit awesome, which is Maria Hill for more card draw, and guess what? Nick Fury for more card draw. So there you go. So those are the 7 cards I would go for to really push this just with the cards available from the core box to the next level. All right, now let's go take a look at some of those hero packs that can really take her on to the next level. All right, now it's time for those hero pack recommendation. Well, the first hero pack I would recommend, and in making her first time as a recommendation, I believe, is the Gamora pack. That's right. Why? Because there's cards like Plan of Attack that allow you to find your stuff, Clobber just to hit the boss. But I think the most cards I'm excited for is for Justice cards, like Pivotal Moment, where you can deal 2 for 5 damage by removing the last threat. So doing exactly what Ironheart wants to do, keeping the main scheme low, and then being able to deal big damage for cheap. I love it. I also like the Impede combo, where you can use Impede first, and then bring back Impede, keep it in your hand, flip down, use it as a mental to trigger your progress counters off your alter ego action. And also, like in Protection, True Grit, because she has a thwart of 3 on her final stage, and if you're playing in multiplayer, True Grit can be, I'll just defend, and then I'll remove 3 threat from a scheme, just using your defense here for other purposes. Well, I really like that, and it's a great chance to use this card that we don't really see a lot of play out of. And Ironheart has a perfect excuse to play it. Second pack I would recommend is Nova. Obviously, there's a few cards that we definitely see playing here, which is Moon Girl, obviously, for awesome card draw. Then we get the Home Technique. I do love the Champion's Bunker. I like the Locust if you're playing aggression, and I really do like the Height Advantage to reduce incoming damage by 1 if you have the aerial trait. So that's why Nova is my second choice. And then my final choice, after that, it's going to be honorable mentions. So my last choice would be Nebula. That's right, Nebula as well, making her way. Maybe I think I've called Nebula. I was debating on Nebula and Spider-Ham here, but because they share a lot of the same cards. But I think I really liked better Brains over Brawn. So one way or another is in both decks, but Brains over Brawn here. I love here, especially in Justice, where you can bring your thwart up to 4. So after you thwart, you can deal 4 damage to an enemy. I think it's really cool because it's equal to your thwart value. So that can be really, really fun. I love Justice Serve that gets to ready your hero as well. And then these 2 really powerful allies, Eros and Wraith. Eros will allow you to confuse minions because you have a lot of mental resources, which is really good. And then Wraith can just cancel nicely boost cards. So for me, these are the 3 hero packs that I would suggest here. And then as honorable mentions, well, obviously we have our friend Star-Lord. Why? Because of all the really cool aerial cards. Obviously we know about the Dive Bomb combo, Ever Vigilant, Agile Flight, Air Supremacy if you want to go aerial. And I really like Adam Warlock with Ironheart here because she has a lot of the mentals here. And she might not want she doesn't mind sacrificing some resources. If you discard a mental, that's an extra 3 damage. And there's all these ways to pump up the allies. So I really think Iron Warlock's a good fit here in the Ironheart deck. My other 2 honorable mentions is Wasp. Man, she comes along so much, but it's because of these. It's because of these double powers in all of us gray resources that can help pay for Genius and all the other great cards that she wants to have in her deck. like Avengers Mansion and stuff like that. So it's just so good, and it's almost an auto include with her. And then you have Miles Morales for theme, and I really like an aggression, the boot camp, so she can concentrate on thwarting, and then you can have your allies just deal the damage, and then when she's on level 3, she can just supplement damage with her progress counters. So I really like these cards just for that, especially for a crazy aggression build. That's very fun. And then finally, it's going to be the Spider-Man box, and it's only one card, and it's because of the symbiote suit. That symbiote suit with this character here gives you the +10, but becoming a 4/3/4, man, that's insane. So that's 11 total. 4/3/4 is an 11 total for your stats. So making your go all outs and your push aheads just that much more efficient. So yeah, that's just for that. That obviously it comes with a lot of great cards here, but I think the only reason I would recommend is for that symbiote suit. And if you haven't played Ironheart with a symbiote suit, what are you waiting for? All right, guys, so that's it for me on Ironheart. We're going to see you next week for the final 2 episodes of Beyond the PreCon. And then after that, it's exciting news. Yes, Villains Beyond, where we're going to take an in-depth look at some of those villains and all that. So there you go. And hopefully we have a very cool special guest for our first episode. And I'll keep that hush-hush until then. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope, don't forget to put a like, subscribe if you haven't done it. Please put those comments at the bottom. I always like to read you in the morning after I see you guys started watching these videos. So yeah, so write something nice, or write something that what you think, or write a comment, whatever you want. As long as you're sharing, it's caring. All right, guys, keep on playing Marvel Champions. Just enjoy yourself, and just remember, just play the game. Ciao, ciao. See you next time.